والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves and the evil of our actions. Whomever Allah guides, none can misguide, and whomever Allah leads astray, none can guide. I bear witness that there is no God or deity worthy of worship but one. Allah alone, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His slave and His messenger. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us what benefits us and to benefit us what He has taught us and increase us in Islamic knowledge. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the same way He has gathered us here, alhamdulillah, in His beautiful and blessed place, inshallah, to listen to His words and the words of the Prophet, that He gathered us together, inshallah, in Jannah al-Firdaus. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this a beneficial series. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it heavy in our scales on the day of judgment. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us all. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters in Islam, we continue on with the series, the journey to the hereafter, and we began the third section of the series, which is the major signs. Okay, we spoke about the journey to the hereafter for each individual. That's when death happens. We spoke about the minor signs, and now we're continuing on to speak about the major signs. And we said about the major signs, there's a common misconception. People believe that the minor signs have to come to an end for the major signs to begin. And this is incorrect, because a lot of the minor signs will happen whilst the major signs are occurring. And we discussed that the major signs, as Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani said, that they're divided into two types. One is as life, they will change, the major signs will occur and life as we know will change. And the second is when the other part of the major signs will occur and the world as we know it changes. And we said, according to Ibn Hajar and many other scholars, that the first major sign that will occur is the coming of a Dajjal, the false Messiah. The false Messiah. And we spoke a lot about the Dajjal. We've given about 2 lectures about the Dajjal. And we spoke about the Prophet and many of the companions believed that there was a man by the name of Ustadh to be the Dajjal. And we spoke about his story. And we concluded by saying that, as Ibn Takeadean said, that he's one of the Dajjals. He's one of the Dajjals. He's one of the minor Dajjals. But he wasn't the real Dajjal, or the one that will come at the end of time. And we also mentioned the dalil for that, the evidence for that, which was the hadith narrated by Imam Muslim, which is in his book, and also Imam Bukhari said this is correct. It's not in his book, but also this hadith is correct, that Dajjal is chained up and locked away in the cave. Somewhere on earth. Where Allah Ta'ala alam, Allah knows. And Tamim al-Dari has seen him, and obviously he's given some of the signs that will indicate when he will come out. So we spoke about this in detail, alhamdulillah. But just for the to continue accordingly, inshallah, we have to kind of recap what we've been taking, inshallah, so we don't just dive in and everyone gets confused. We'll recap to remind that process, inshallah, and indeed remind the benefits the believers with the major dawah. So that the Dajjal will come out at the end of time. And he will claim to be a god, an ilah. He will claim to be ilah, a god. And he will have between the two trials, as we know, the two leagues, the trials of desires and the trials of doubts. Now some ulama believe that at that specific time, there will be so much bloodshed, there will be so much chaos, and a lot of, subhanAllah, being poor people. So the Dajjal, when he comes out, it's a lot easier for people to follow him. And some ulama say that that's why a lot of the women follow the Dajjal, because they feel a sense of security and being safe. So the Dajjal will provide them safety. If that doesn't work, he will come and attack us from the sense of doubts, where he will make us doubt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where he will have these tricks or some abilities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him. This is not normal, but this is some gifts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or abilities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to the Dajjal for us to be tested. That's what's one of the greatest tests and trials of the entire world. Where He commanded the sky to obviously pour rain, He'll command the earth to give out its virtues, treasure, fruits and veggies, and so on and so forth. Even when it comes to a person, and we say, believe in me, this person will refuse and say, no, I've heard of you, you're the Dajjal, whatnot. He said, how about if I revive your parents? Your parents are dead. He'll come to the grave and he'll command the grave to open up, and two people appear to him, his mother and father, and say, oh son or oh daughter, this man is God, so believe him. So a massive trial, this is very hard for us to pass. Okay, and the only way we can pass this trial and this temptation and test is with belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, according to this hadith, the two people that his mom and dad get resurrected, they're truly not his mom and dad, but they are jinn that come in the form of his mother and father. Okay, and it's not actually, he didn't revive his mom and dad, but actually a jinn that two jinns that appear to this person, to this individual, in his mum and his dad. This Dajjal, the believer would read on his forehead, Kafir. Disbelief. He's a Kafir. What's something called Kafir. The only way you'll read this is when you have Iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Taqwa. Understanding who the Dajjal is. So, being a person that has piety in him. Because again, like last week we said, we all know that music is haram, we all know that zina is haram, we all know that riba is haram. We all know these things are haram, but yet we fall into it. So the Dajjal is wrong, but yet we might fall into his trap because we don't have taqwa in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in order to survive the Dajjal's fitna, is to have taqwa and piety in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We also said that he will go to Medina, there will be angels there protecting Medina and Mecca, where the Dajjal will not be able to enter, and obviously the young man, this the student of knowledge, will come out and secure the Dajjal. The Dajjal will kill him, walk split in half, walk between his two parts of his body, revive him, and he'll say, don't you believe in me now? And he will refuse and say, I only believe now more that you are the Dajjal that Muhammad has warned us about. We'll try to kill him again. And that's it. That's his limits. That's his abilities of the Dajjal. The Dajjal will roam the earth for 40 days. That one day will feel like a year, the second day like a month, the third like a week, and lastly, the rest of the days are like the rest of the days. And if we want to take it literally, the Dajjal could be amongst us at the end of time, approximately a year and a half to 2 years. Approximately a year and a half to 2 years. This is the Dajjal. Now the Dajjal, okay, how is it described by the Prophet? He's a young man. He's not old, and he's not very young, and he's not a woman. Okay, something we need to be aware of. Like people say, oh, she's a Dajjal or whatever. There's a lot of things we hear out there at the moment. But he's a man. Okay, he's a man, from son of Adam. He's a mankind. He will be short. Okay, he won't be very tall. He'll be short. He will be broad. He'll have curly hair. He'll be blind with one eye. Some may say two eyes, but he'll be blind with one eye. He'll have curly hair, as I said. His legs will be crooked. Okay, he will walk in a crooked manner. His legs will be crooked. And all this is just to indicate and to show us. Allah He puts us through trials, but He gives us the means, the necessity things that we need to know and see, so we can be safe from this, obviously this fitna. So all of these things, a person with that description is deformed, he's blind with one eye, he's crooked, he walks crookedly. How can he be Allah? So all of this, what we discussed, is just to indicate to us that how can a person that's deformed, he's not perfect, how can he be the one that created the world? So this is, inshallah, a means for us to know and believe that if we were to face this trial, that this person can't be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he is imperfect, and And some of these things, especially the blind part, the Prophet ﷺ was the only prophet to inform his people about the Dajjal being blind. Every prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to his people, they informed their people about the Dajjal, some sort of creature that will come at the end of time, and he will try to trick people into believing he is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is going to be very important for today's lesson. Except Prophet he described the Dajjal, this is the description, plus he added onto what the other prophets have said, that he will be deformed and he will be blind with one eye. He will be blind with one eye. Why is this important? Because, well, by Allah, today's lecture was supposed to be talking about the Mahdi. Okay, we were supposed to be talking about the Mahdi, but many people ask the question, okay, what do the Jews believe in? Do they believe in the Dajjal? The Christians believe in the Dajjal? Well, some of the brothers wanted to know, so I said, inshallah, today's lesson will be speaking about what the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims believe the Dajjal. Okay, because the Christians have some sort of belief, the Jews have some sort of belief, and obviously us Muslims have some sort of belief about the Dajjal. So it's only fair that inshallah we'll spend today, even though it's probably a bit of a smaller lecture today, but it's just fair inshallah that we, inshallah, with the will of Allah, just explain some of the beliefs that the Christians and the Jews had about the Dajjal. Now in order to speak about the Dajjal, we need to understand what happened at the time of Isa alayhi salam. At the time of who? Of Isa alayhi salam. People might ask, this is very important. When we understand what happened in Isa's time, we will understand why Jews are waiting for the Messiah and why Christians are waiting for the Messiah. Now at the time of Isa alayhi salam, we all know that Jesus, peace be upon him, when he was sent to his people, they were split into two. Those who believed and those who disbelieved. Those who disbelieved and said that, no, he's not the Prophet of God, and they gonna swore at his mother, called her impure names, and they tried to kill Isa alayhi salam. The second part is the ones who followed Isa alayhi salam and believed that he was the Prophet of Allah. Okay? And they were called the followers or the disciples of Isa alayhi salam, al-Hawariyin. So the ones who disbelieved in him, they are called Jews today. And the ones who followed him to a certain level, are the Christians that we know today. To a certain level, I'll explain why. Now when we say Bani Israel, what comes to our mind? Who's Israel? We hear the word Israel. What does Israel mean? This is something that the Muslim world needs to know. Israel means the slave of Allah. The slave or servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People when they say, Israel, slave of Allah, yes. And believe it or not, the word Israel is a name of a prophet. Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which was the prophet of Yaqub, Jacob. He had a second name, which he was Israel. Jacob, Yaqub alayhi salam, is the father of who? Of Yusuf alayhi salam. Perfect. The father of Yaqub, so the grandfather of Yusuf alayhi salam, his name was Ishaq. So, and the father of Ishaq is Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, that's why he's called the father of prophets. Ibrahim alayhi salam had two sons, Ishaq and Ismail. Ishaq and Ismail. From Ishaq, he had a son, his name is Yaqub / Israel, and Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons. One of them was Yusuf alayhi salam and Benjamin. From these 12 sons, Bani Israel was formed. They were the children, that's what they're called, children of Yaqub, children of Israel. And from these descendants, there were prophets like Dawood alayhi salam, David, Sulaiman alayhi salam, King Solomon, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam. Okay? They are from Bani Israel, obviously the sons of Yaqub alayhi salam. Keep that in mind as well. So, Isa alayhi salam, that's why some believed in him and some didn't. The ones that didn't, which are the Jews, they disbelieved in him. They disbelieved in him, even though they had in their books, the Torah and Injil, they had the descriptions of Isa alayhi salam. But they disbelieved in him for a particular reason. They disbelieved in him for a particular reason. As for the followers of Isa alayhi salam, the followers of Isa alayhi salam, when Isa alayhi salam was taken to the heavens, because Isa alayhi salam didn't pass away, he didn't die. Isa alayhi salam didn't die. When he was raised to the heavens, his students, his disciples, spread the message of Jesus, peace be upon him, which was monotheism, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Throughout these years, we're talking about 200, 300 years, then these ideologies that Isa was God, Son of God, 3 in 1, 1 in 3, Spirit, everything, that's when it happened. Okay, that's when it happened. The Bibles obviously was contradicted. You see today, obviously you see it today that the Bible, you see one thing say one thing, the other say another thing within the Bible. And that's the miracle of the Quran, where there's not one contradiction till today. It's been a challenge for the world for over 1,400 years, and they will never find a contradiction. They will never find a contradiction in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised that He will preserve the Quran, but He didn't promise that He will preserve Torah and Injil. And that's what we see today. And from the miracles of the Quran, it's the same Quran since the time of Prophet till today. The same Ikhlas, the same Surah Al-Falaq, the same Surah Al-Nas, since that time till today, which is a miracle, subhanAllah. So, after these 300 years, the followers of Isa alayhi salam divided. Okay, everyone went somewhere, and there was only a minute number, a small number, that stayed on the deen of monotheism. They call it the deen of Ibrahim, the grandfather, the father of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And that was there at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whilst him being in Mecca, before he was a prophet. Okay? And the one that was speaking to Prophet when he saw this dream, or when he saw the angel Jibreel alayhi salam, was Waraqah bin Nawfal. Waraqah bin Nawfal. Okay, Waraqah bin Nawfal, he was a person that followed the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's monotheism, believing in one God. He didn't believe in associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was subhanAllah upset that he's not young and not strong enough to support the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was old, and he said that people are going to come drive you out like they did, subhanAllah. So that's the descendants of Bani Israel. The Jews, when they got kicked out of Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem, from Nebuchadnezzar, most of them went to Asfahan, okay, a place in Iran, waiting for the Dajjal to come out. Okay? And some of them went to Medina. The ones that went to Medina were waiting for the last prophet. They were waiting for the last prophet, because even their religion, they knew that there's only one more prophet coming. But they believed he would come from the Arab world, okay, but they thought he will be from the descendants of Bani Israel, of Yaqub alayhi salam, or from Ishaq, the grandfather Ishaq. But the Prophet came from the descendants of Ismail, Ishaq, and Ishaq and Ishaq and Ismail were the sons of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So literally they're cousins. Muslims and Jews, supposedly, are cousins. That's all it is. That's all it was. But they were so arrogant, full of pride, where they disbelieved in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how we have today Christians and Muslims and Jews, or Christians and Jews. Those who disbelieved from that time, Isa alayhi salam, and those who followed him, but throughout time, everything was going in together, and the religion of Isa alayhi salam was lost, subhanAllah. Back to our original. What do the Christians and Jews believe about the Dajjal? Some Christians, there's a lot of different thoughts. A lot of minority, even people believe in the false Messiah or the real Messiah. This is minority, but we're going to talk generally. I'm not going to give them what the Orthodox believe and what these guys believe on. Just generally, inshallah. Now, for the Christians, they believe in the false Messiah. As Ibn Qayyim said, the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims believe in some sort of person coming at the end of time. The Christians believe in the false Messiah. Some believe the false Messiah is actually the Pope. Some believe that it's actually the Pope. The others, they believe that Islam as a whole is the false Messiah, is the Dajjal itself. Why? Because they believe, Jesus is God. And Islam comes and says, Isa is a prophet. So they're fighting our religion now. So who's the false Messiah? The Muslims. That's what they believe. Okay, some group. Another group belief of Christians, very similar to the Muslims. They believe that there will be a false Messiah coming at the end of time, and there will be a true Messiah coming at the end of time, which they believe is Isa alayhi salam, the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam. Okay? And there'll be a face-off between the Christians and everyone else in the Armageddon. In the Armageddon. It's what some of the Christians believe. Now, what's scary is some Christians believe that Isa alayhi salam is true. It will not come down until the false Messiah comes. This is the Muslims. But what's amazing is that this is not going to happen. So their savior, the one that saved the Christians, the Christian religion, will not come until their enemies, which are the Jews first, they actually speak about the Jews, all gather in the Holy Land. Let me repeat myself. Christians, not Muslims out, some of the Christians have in their ideology, therefore, that Isa alayhi salam will not come down until their enemies, which are the Jews, will gather all around the world and come to the Holy Land, Palestine, Jerusalem. Do we understand something now? Do we realize what's happening? How a lot of the Christians want Jews to have power and to vote to go to a certain place, not because they like it. Maybe some might say it's because of money or something. Yeah, maybe. But Allah knows this. Some Jews even know this. Some Jews, rabbis, also know this. But they said we've got too much power, they're coming. I think Allah. But then some of the Christians believe that Isa alayhi salam will come out at the end of time. It will not happen until the false Messiah comes in. In order for the false Messiah to come to the Dajjal, all the Jews need to gather in Jerusalem. And obviously they'll have the Armageddon and they'll kill everyone. And they'll have the paradise on earth and so on and so forth. That's what the Christian faith. Now the Jews have one of the ideology. They believe in the Messiah, the Messiah. The Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, what do they believe in? True. For them, Messiah means a king. He means a king. Now when Isa alayhi salam came, and it's on the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, what did they want? They wanted him to be the king. King spiritually, like a da'i, like a call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. They wanted power. They wanted honor. Now Isa alayhi salam, when he came, that's all second. Even us Muslims, it's all second. Don't know about that. We're going to build our iman first. And then in all these small people in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wing of a bug, they will come as extras. Because this is nothing. This is nothing, subhanAllah, for the true Muslims. The Jews were the same. When Isa on the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, they didn't want him. They knew they kind of knew he was a prophet, but because he didn't have power and he wasn't a king like they want, they fought him and tried to kill Isa alayhi salam. Understand? The Jews knew or know of someone that will come, who's called the Messiah, that will come, give them power and give them honor. Which is today, as we know, we've been discussing it. Who is it? The Dajjal. The Dajjal will come. The Dajjal will come, and most of the Jews will follow the Dajjal. Because the Dajjal has the power, the resources, he claims to be God, and that's who the Jews are waiting for. So for them, for the Jews, Isa, the Dajjal will come, the true Messiah, the one that they obviously wanted to Isa, they said no, he's not the true Messiah, so they killed him. They supposedly killed him, but he wasn't killed. He was raised to the heavens, and he will come at the end of time. They didn't want that, so who do they want? They want the false Messiah, which for them the true Messiah, which is the Dajjal. For him to come, give them power, give them honor, and then attack the Muslims and the Christians. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So it's very similar to the different religions and what they think about the Dajjal. But alhamdulillah, for the power of Islam, as being Muslims, we know the truth and we know who the false Messiah is and the true Messiah. The false Messiah, which is the Dajjal, and the Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, which he will come and he will obviously in his hand, the Dajjal's hand will be on the hand of Isa ibn Maryam. Isa ibn Maryam. This will be detailed. What happens when Isa alayhi salam descends, what he does, and so on and so forth, will be detailed inshallah in the upcoming weeks. Let's just hear some of the things that the Jewish, you can say Mashiach of the Jews, believe in regards to the Dajjal. Some say, which is a very popular Jew sheikh in the belief system, one of the belief systems is that he said, I believe with full faith in the coming of the Messiah. Even though he delays, are eager his arrival. Eagerly await his arrival. So people actually, many of the, some of the Jews actually really believe that he's going to come and so on and be the Savior. Another people believe that the more pious we are as Jews, he will come out quicker. Okay? He will come out. These you can say Orthodox Jews, they came low in numbers for a long time. Okay, those who believe in the Dajjal and prophets and all that as Jews, they came a very small number. And only recently they've grown in numbers. Only recently, very recently. And there's a reason behind it. And we can relate to this a little bit. And we see a lot of Christians, same thing. When the religion, any religion, has no more values, no more standards, okay, everything is allowed, and it just depends on what society says, and there's no boundaries for us. The person with a bit of intellect and a firm personality won't accept this. A person, an individual, which he lives without any standards, there's no standards for him, he won't like this. A true person, a true human being, a true intellect. He won't like his life. Some resort to suicide, some resort to converting to other religions, and some go and follow the original books. And we can see so many of the Jews, going to and embracing Islam now more than any other time. Now more than any other time. Why? Because the majority of Jews have abandoned all these things that we see. And they abandoned the Dajjal and just want to live their life and make as much money as they can and so on and so forth. But some that have standards, they don't accept this. Either accept Islam or they actually follow this the Jaf and follow the actual original books. And that's why you see a lot of Christians. You ask many people, "Are you Christian?" "Yeah, I'm Christian." "You go to church?" "No." "You read the Bible?" "No." "What are you Christian for?" "Another Christian." "Oh, does he go to church?" "No." "Or is he a Christian for his grandfather Christian?" "Did he go to church?" "Yeah, maybe once every 3 years." It's just dead. It's so dead. Okay? And therefore you see a lot of the Christians embracing Islam. You see a lot of the Christians embracing Islam because, I'm a Christian, but first these don't make sense. Second, one God, two God, all that doesn't make sense. And three, one, three, plus everything's halal. In Christianity you can't eat pig and they eat pig. You can't drink alcohol and they drink alcohol. In Christianity you can't have a haram relationship and they have a relationship. So how are you a Christian? What makes you a Christian? Name, label? No. So you see people resorting to converting to Islam, and again, Islam has been the fastest growing religion today. Sadly, it will never happen to their level. But the sad thing is, the Muslims are heading to that path where whatever is halal is what society accepts. And whatever is haram is what society accepts, which is nothing haram for them. That's what Jews went through, Christianity went through. And Islam is slowly falling into that trap. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Allah ila nasrullah, indeed the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near. And we all know the verse in the Quran that they try to get rid of Islam and it will never happen. We all know it's not going to happen. But just for us to wake up, be mindful of what is happening around the world, especially here in Australia, because they want to destroy any standards. Everything's halal, everything, do whatever you want. There's no deen, there's nothing that. What prevents someone from fornicating? What prevents someone from drinking alcohol? What prevents someone from doing drugs? It's nothing. What, they go in jail for a few weeks and get out. There's nothing really there to prevent it. And for us, what prevents someone from doing haram is us fearing Jahannam and wanting to enter Jannah. But the world living in, it's a massive push where they don't want no religion anymore. We see today the same-sex love and the same-sex marriage and so on and so forth. Oh no, we don't care about the religion. Whatever your religion says, no. We want to enforce this. We want to enforce that love is love and whatnot. Something happened with me and everything, but this was one of the most upsetting moments of my life. I went to a chemist, not far, I was on the 24/7 hour, 24/7 chemist. So obviously it's quiet, there's not much hush. So I see a sister, obviously she's Muslim, she's wearing a hijab. And where the prescription is and stuff, I'm waiting in line, and I overheard her talking to another person. And this person, Allah Ta'ala, I think he said he's Muslim. I'm not sure, but I think he said he's Muslim. And apparently, he's one of those people who follow LGBTQ. He likes someone, okay? And he liked the same gender. And he was saying to her, oh no, whatnot, and this, that. She was consumed by society and actually said these words. You know what? Everyone to their own, love is love. Muslim, Hajj, you want a scarf on? Why have we reached that level? Why have we reached that level? Only reason you can say is no more Iman. There's no more Islamic knowledge. طلب العلم فريضة على كل Muslim. What I'm saying is that seeking Islamic knowledge is compulsory on every single Muslim. I'm not saying go to Medina for 4 years and then continue Master's and PhD for 8 years. I'm not saying that. But when Muslims don't have an identity, We are giving into society by saying, yeah, do whatever you want. Now that's a problem. That's a huge, huge problem. Islam won't ever go away. But Muslims, yeah, they might. Some Muslims might lose their faith, might lose Iman. People are doubting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. People are doubting the religion. People are doubting the Quran. I'm telling you, it's been preserved for over 1400 years. And there are people who are doubting the Quran. This is a problem. You see it on YouTube, for example, views. Over millions of views. In order to protect ourselves and our children, not only about ourselves, but it's about our children, we need to strengthen our Islamic knowledge. We need to have an Islamic identity, or else we are gone here in Australia. As Muslims, Australian Muslims, sorry, but it has to be part of our priority to seek Islamic knowledge. It has to be. Why is it that you see more Muslims attending concerts and attending footy matches and attending everything that society is allowed? They don't come to the masjid, they don't come and strengthen their Islamic knowledge. And they are the best on social media. Some groups on social media that are Islam, sharing, and come to the Fajr, come to the Maghrib, come to Isha, come to a class, come to Jum'ah. It's not about just coming and listening to a lecture. It's not just about that as well. Yes, it helps a lot. But we remind the lecturer himself first, and then the ones who are listening, alhamdulillah, they remember the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the words of Allah and the hadith, the words of Allah, which will help and reignite and strengthen your iman, which we are all in dire need. But it's not just that, it's also acting upon it. Acting upon what you've learned. What you can do, or we can do, is what we learned today. What is it? 30 minutes, 40 minutes? Keep one thing in your mind, just one thing. Go back home. If you're those who are married, tell your wives. Tell your children. You're not married? Still single, inshallah. Learn that one thing. Tomorrow at work, say, Wallah, Ustadh, I learned one thing from the Shaykh. One thing I learned about the Dajjal. One thing I learned about what Jews believe. One thing I learned about what the Christians believe about the Dajjal. One thing. When you have this thought, you are starting to act upon what you are learning, inshallah. And these things will obviously be in your mind, cemented in your mind with the Dajjal. When Muslims are doing, because we're in such a dire moment where Muslims are, this is what we can do. Tomorrow, inshallah, make a promise to yourself, or tonight, if you're married, inshallah, go back to your family, tell them one thing you learned from today's lesson. So anyway, today is back to our topic. We spoke about the different beliefs about the Jews, Christians and Muslims about the Dajjal, and inshallah, our one obviously is correct because we are following the correct religion, the religion that has never changed. The Quran hasn't changed, ever. Okay, so it only makes sense for us to be correct with Allah Jalla wa Ala. Okay, and inshallah, this was for the brothers who asked about to make this beneficial for all of Allah. Next week we're going to be talking about the Mahdi. Now, the Mahdi is very controversial. Okay, so we're going to spend some time about speaking about the Mahdi. We might take a whole lesson, it could be taking a lesson and a half, but it depends. Okay, I didn't want to start it today and finish it in 10 minutes, and no, I wanted to keep it separate, inshallah. One of the brothers asked a question last week. Why is Isa alayhi salam called Al-Masih, Isa ibn Maryam, and the Dajjal called Al-Masih al-Dajjal? Okay. Now the answer to this is, first we need to understand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called Al-Masih Isa ibn Maryam, it's called. The other thing we need to be aware of is that it doesn't, even though it's one word, it doesn't have to be that this has the same meaning for both. It doesn't have to. Okay? So this is what some of the ulama said. Other ulama have said, as we said, that the Masih al-Dajjal means Mamsuh al-Ain, comes from the Mamsuh, which is his eyes are blind or wiped out, so he can't see in front of his eyes. Okay? As for Isa alayhi salam, al-Masih or Isa ibn Maryam, some ulama say that he used to yamsah ala al-a'ma. He used to wipe on the blind eye, and by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person was able to see again. That blind person was able to see again. Okay? So this is some of what ulama have said. Okay? But they are completely separate meanings. Completely separate meanings. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you all. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله. Again, next week we'll begin the Mahdi with Allah Jalla wa Ala. Barakallahu fiik. Anyone, we have some time inshallah. I just want to get off my life, this is very controversial. Anyone has